We've been talking about this mystery for a few days now. What happened on the Eisenhower? How did a car explode and then shut down a major urban expressway for more than 8 hours?
Yeah, this was something else. Well, this afternoon, the NBC Chicago investigative team has learned some answers, has some new details, the story behind the story, if you will, of how that car blew up last Thursday morning, killing the Cicero man behind the wheel. Fair warning here, the story you are about to hear is unpleasant and it is gruesome.
Yeah, let's send things over to our investigative reporter, Chuck Goudie, who joins us with what his team has learned about this mystery. Chuck, what are you finding out?
Stephen and Marion, it isn't pretty, but the authorities now know what happened on the Eisenhower Expressway last Thursday, and so do we. It was a commercial-grade firework mortar that went off inside the SUV being driven by 47-year-old Jorge Vaca from West Suburban Cicero. A senior law enforcement official with direct knowledge of the case tells NBC5 that the fireworks rocket was ignited inside Vaca's car and shot into his chest. It wasn't a bomb, and nobody did it to him, they have concluded. The one question that remains is, why did it happen? Heavy fireworks are supposed to be blown off in open spaces for obvious reasons, or into the sky well away from people. But that is not what happened last Thursday inside this SUV being driven westbound on the Eisenhower Expressway. FBI officials say only the vehicle driver was involved in the explosion that occurred here. An explosion that NBC5 investigates can now report was caused by a commercial-grade firework ignited inside the driver compartment of the SUV. That's according to a high-ranking law enforcement official who has direct knowledge of the evidence. The driver, 47-year-old Jorge Vaca, was killed when the firework shot into his chest as he was driving across the I-290 expressway, says the law enforcement official, backed up, he says, by the autopsy report that is yet to be released. The blast blew out windows in Vaca's SUV that came to a stop on the highway. No one else was hurt.
Obviously, they're thinking it was an internal explosion. And thank goodness it wasn't an external explosion, and thank goodness that nobody else, which shockingly didn't hit the car or ram into the car or just be part of collateral damage for this unfortunate circumstances that occurred.
Mike Gannon is retired assistant special agent in charge of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Chicago Division. Initially, multiple senior law enforcement sources told us they thought Vaca might have been targeted in the explosion because he had recently been arrested by DEA and agreed to help the agency. Now, those sources say a cartel hit was ruled out early, and they say those fireworks were set off by Vaca. With the remaining question, did he do it intentionally? The Cook County Medical Examiner says the manner of death is still under investigation. The day the Eisenhower came to a halt for 8 hours last Thursday, we reported that federal law enforcement officials thought it was a bizarre accident, but that officials said they hadn't ruled out suicide. This afternoon, a senior U.S. official in Chicago who is tracking this investigation tells me they are now leaning toward the suicide possibility, but that right now determining the manner of death remains a main point of the investigation. That's a strange one.
Wow, it really is some fascinating details there. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of thought on what exactly, was such a bizarre mystery.
We had no idea
Yeah.
for hours trying to figure it out. Okay. Thank you so much, Chuck.